Hello everyone, and welcome to another very special video where I am back with my guest. Please introduce yourself.
Hello there. Glad to be back. I'm Frey once again, and if you're watching this, I have to assume that you've had like a time capsule of almost a year. How many times have we done this? Like,
We've
this the
done it.
fifth or
This is
something?
our fourth time.
How are you doing today, Kamui?
I'm doing good. Hope you're well, and I hope everyone who's watching is well as well. It's because we're about to get into some hot takes from the last video.
I'm very excited. I've found myself being incredibly at peace with Project Moon as of late. I don't know why. I feel like I've had an entire character arc over the course of all these videos, going from having some fun talking about just anything that sounds like it could be spicy enough to genuinely having thoughts about a lot of what's going on to thinking, you know what? Everything has its cycle. Everything starts, everything ends. I'm at peace with it.
Yeah, no, I guess our hot take is that I don't think there's any hot takes from us. I personally think Limbus is in not only the best state it's been, but they're kind of fucking killing it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, okay. I feel very validated knowing that you have the same attitude.
Yeah, no, I always try and stay optimistic and positive and look at the realistic side merits, but there hasn't been any delays. Please don't fucking will this into existence. There's been no delays. There's been all the content's that's been coming out besides, minor bugs and small issues, like with a patch or so, have been, good. We're getting more stuff. We're getting cool things. I mean, the stories are great. What's not to love? The music's fucking amazing. Everything seems to be going well.
Let's see if there's someone that can bring an actual problem up to us.
Alright, now, I guess I should let you all know, because this is from the last video, I pretty much, how I do this is I go through the top comments, then I'll go through the newest comments, and then I'll do a mix. So, there are some comments in here that are from, maybe past when the video came out. There are some here that are more recent.
Hot take. Limbus should have more support IDs, especially for poison charge. And I don't mean IDs like, if you put this ID and this ID together, they do a combo for big damage. I mean IDs that actually buff clash power, damage, and status infliction. This would make team building more interesting than putting the strongest 7 IDs for a status together, and make it so that you have to balance out support and damage on your team. It would also help poison charge a lot, as it would make it more of a team rather than just a bunch of generalists put together loosely tied together with a few egos. Also, poise count negativity is good, as it means you have an incentive to use more poise count support.
We're kind of getting this. I mean, we have AEDD Gregor.
We do, at least with charge.
Yeah.
But I think charge also is in a worse spot than poise when it comes to working together with other IDs. So I would say that
W Corp, Otis is an AEDD Gregor are the two I can think of that are the support.
Well, I mean, the unfortunate thing is that poise has recently been just a garnish for other strategies as of late, except for Bold Cut Sinclair.
We have not really had a a poise little section. It's
the other thing that I think was good of them to mention was that they said if you put this ID and this ID together, they do a combo for big damage. I see that as a pot shot at the Backshot Full Stop brothers, Hong Lu and Heathcliff.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining what they're trying to say is that we have more support IDs that are generalists. So they're here to say, let's see, kind of like Ahab,
yes.
Ishmael for one.
He's kind of a generalist, yeah. I think the direction they did with AEDD Gregor is the good way to do it for these type of support IDs, because obviously when they come out with a new ID, well, they can't just have it be used as nothing but a backbench, you know what I'm saying? They can't. It has to be able to do stuff. I guess that's kind of just the limitation of this type of turn-based system. It's not like Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest where it's viable to sacrifice, or you have the ability to sacrifice your turn to do things. The closest you can do is use Ego that affects others, like Thorokagia or Telepole, stuff like that.
Another ID that does this, but is not at all poise or charge, Ricardo Heathcliff.
I was actually, that's a great, yeah, we do have Ricardo Heathcliff by the time this is out. Yeah, he's a team leader. He's definitely a middle leader. He gives fucking unopposed defense, no stagger, resources to allies, gives resources.
I feel like what this person is looking for is a leader ID that's not necessarily a leader.
Yeah, it's you know what it's like? It's like you're looking for a Moses. Like, unironically, like in Distortion Detective, Moses is usually in the back trying to snipe people with her fucking smoke because Ezra and I guess Vespa are the ones actually frontlining. So,
Wait, no, that's a really good point. You
yeah.
could balance that out. So the difference between a leader ID is that leader IDs are usually pretty stocky, pretty good at clashing. Whereas with someone like you're looking for a leader ID that plays like She-Faust, essentially.
And I hope this wills in potential Moses or Ezra identity in the new Intervalo. Probably Ezra, maybe, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I would love, for a fact I would love that.
Yeah, I think we'd go crazy if there was an Ezra identity. My biggest hot take is I really think they should have a toggle for missions you've already beaten. That just axes out all the rewards at XP and just lets you replay the fights or dungeons without having to use any resources to experience the story or fights.
I feel like after you've beaten it, you're not really going to be getting a lot out of spending 20 in Kefalin.
You literally get 2 fucking brown tickets.
Yeah, right? Who are you leveling up by beating Rien and getting 200 XP from it?
Fucking hell, right? Like, yeah, it's definitely a thing that, I think that's definitely the next part of the thing they need to do the fixes on. Adding a check that lets you fight to the highest level of the enemy is also good as well, so.
You can technically do this if you just pause the fight
like you end it before the final turn, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that's the way it should be by any means. I am just saying, though, you made the take better by adding that.
Yeah, I definitely think this is something that they probably wouldn't focus on unless they were going to rework how either experience works again, or they're going to do like a level cap thing that you can do, so.
Hot take. ProjectMoon should actually upgrade the base IDs after each respective Kanto moving forward and not just change their sprites. I mean, Ryoshu got a whole new damn sword and her stats are still the same. So, brother, let me tell you about something called the Golden Bows in the contract.
The Golden Bow. Or Bow. The Golden Bow. Bow.
Like, there is a reason why that's the case, and I'm sorry, but it's not the sword that makes her strong. Then again, we are talking about this, I assume, before the Intervalo came out.
This was most definitely before the Intervalo, I think. I can't confirm. I think they're going to do it after Inferno.
I agree.
I think it's going to go Inferno, Purgatorio, Paradiso, and then at Paradiso they're going to be like a 3-star. They're going to do 1 base units, 2 stars in Purgatorio, and then 3 stars in...
I feel like there's a really good chance of that. The other thing, though, is that when we get to Purgatorio, we're going to be at least level 90.
Yeah.
Do you think ProjectMoon is going to invent level 180 or level 150 by the end of Purgatorio?
Are we going to be at 90 by 12? I thought we were going to be at like 70 by 12.
Yeah,
but still, I agree with you mean. It's like in Final Fantasy 14 where they made the level cap like 100 and they're going past 100, but like in Final Fantasy games you never go past 99. It's like kind of just weird.
Yeah.
But,
are they really going to do that, or should we expect to get a different method of upgrading? So I feel like there is a chance that what this person wants could happen.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's both a long way off, going to need some kind of story event, and is going to be in a different means than we've seen before if it happens. Just hold on for another 2 years or so. You waited more than that to see the sword itself. You're gonna be fine.
Maybe. You know what? The real question is, the real hot take, and I'm taking over this, is that we don't have Heathcliff or Ryoshu as facades.
Now, wait. We don't have base Heathcliff or Ryoshu as facades?
Nope. They have changed sprites. They don't have a facade. They're the only 2 sinners that don't have a... Yeah, they don't have a base facade. You cannot facade base Heathcliff and base Ryoshu, because they have the... Well, I'm not sure why it matters that they have a changed sprite, but they have the changed sprite, so I think they're doing it later or something. I don't know. That's not a priority. Yeah, the base IDs will get upgraded. It's just, well, I'm gonna put my hand on your shoulder. You're not supposed to be using the base IDs at this point. that's not even Dante uses the base IDs in the fucking anime. You're not supposed to be using the base IDs.
This is true, man! Dante's using Heisho.
Hot take. Sinners, both ego and IDs, should not get the green coin, say for spectacle fights like the one that was introduced. It completely ignores the point of unbreakable coins existing in the first place. It won't be healthy for the game, already poor balance. But I do think enemies should keep having them, as it forces you to make more decisions during combat. I remember we talked about this last time. We did. Am on the side that I don't think we should get a green coin, or if we did get a green coin, it has to be like fucking Ascended Skill 3 Capstone Ryoshu identity is like the only one who gets a green coin. But or purple, whatever. But I do
Mm-hmm.
agree with this. I do think the enemies should have the coins and we shouldn't, especially because if we have green coins, it does break a lot of fights.
Here's the thing. I understand the take this person is making, and I think that that is a valid direction to go to game balance wise. I
Hmm.
really do. At the same time, I do like my funny colored
Yeah, I
currency.
do, the rainbow
And
coin.
I want to taste the rainbow
Hmm.
before Paradiso is over.
But you know what? I do think in general, I think more coins definitely adds more variety to the game. So we definitely need more coins, slowly but surely.
Personal small hot take is that power scaling culture should stay away from Project Moon. I think it doesn't mix well with the universe and storytelling is trying to go for, and it has led to some of the most annoying discourses I've had in this community that I love. I agree with this, but I'm going to change the term power scaling culture into just generally people that easily. Ah, God, no, how do I want to frame this? I
TikTok
feel
culture?
like. What's up?
TikTok culture?
See, you could say TikTok culture. My original phrasing was people who are annoying on the internet, but that
Ah.
very much includes me. So I can't really
Yes.
say that. Um, I
So
I think it's
self-harm.
more that no, it's fine. I've learned to own it, but at the same
Hmm.
time, it's like I think this speaks to a larger issue than just power scaling culture. Because on the one hand, I can understand that power scaling it can be fun. It can be fun to think like, damn, I wonder if Hopkins could kill Shren if it really came down to it.
Probably,
Just to
yeah.
pull out two Gloop Shadows from nowhere.
Probably, yeah. The answer to that is yeah, probably.
We'll see. I genuinely don't know. But at the same time, like people that take the idea of power scaling too far and too seriously, you're it's basically the same idea as saying you should take this game way too seriously. You
Hmm.
should focus on being right. You should focus on proving to everyone else that you're right, and everyone should have the same homogenous opinion instead of enjoying the stuff they just enjoy.
I have been around the power scaling area, not personally myself, but I mean I love anime, so
Of
I've been
course.
there myself, and it's it is kind of annoying, but like it's inevitable. It's something that you cannot. The biggest thing is that the director and Project Moon themselves do not give a fuck about power scaling. This is why at every opportunity they try to avoid power scaling. The only thing that they've done is closest to power scaling is when like the sinners were asking about their own power levels, and then we had Hohenheim word for word say it doesn't fucking matter, bro.
Yeah, right?
Like Hohenheim said, it doesn't matter because you know what the real power scaling in the city is? Fucking money. And you don't have any money without Limbus company, so you guys are brokies. Even if you could revive 100 times, it doesn't matter. Like,
This is true. I mean, there's a ton of different ways that you can break any kind of regular power scale. I think there's a. I haven't seen the video on it, but I believe that there's a rule that's been emerging that's like the can a gun kill them rule? Like a
mhm.
regular ass gun. And it's the idea that can you use a simple weapon that is going to bypass any kind of nonsense? And will that work? Or is there any kind of not even kryptonite, but just smart idea you can use that hasn't been considered where you're just trying to stay within the same sandbox?
Negative coin ego shouldn't be able to corrode from low sanity, referring to the percentage chance to corrode on use. Corroding at 45 is fine. I think that's, yeah, I think that's cool.
I don't know. I feel like these are made with that concept in mind. Actually, no, never mind. I now now I remember that friggin' fourth match Flame Rodion exists. No, no,
Yeah.
I I feel like changing the entire system. I can agree with where this take is coming from. I feel like the more likely way this will pan out is that negative coin ego will just have better corrosions
Yeah, that's probably it,
than
to be honest with you. Yeah,
awakenings.
yeah, that usually
Like,
kind of... I do think the whole system could use a soft rework, because it's
mhm,
very clear they're in between two worlds, one might say. The situation that
sure.
you would be using a negative coin ego is
Mhm,
in the situation where the negative coin ego would be at its best, which would be at low sanity. So you try to use
mhm.
the no like the negative coin ego at low sanity, you corrode, you accidentally kill your team. Oops.
Like I
I should have just
I
taken
see
the
the
fucking hit.
vision.
Yeah.
I see the vision there. At that point, I feel like the implicit message here, other than the season one ego, at which
Mhm.
point they were just throwing dust, they were just throwing everything in the kitchen sink at the wall.
Yeah.
I think the later negative coin ego are made with the intention to say, You're only going to use the Awakening if you're okay with using something worse. You're going to have to shill out for
Yeah.
paying for the Corrosion if you want to get something like
What
this.
is the...
And then that's how we got Fell Bullet Yi-Song.
Well, Fell Bullet Yisang's a positive coin, though.
It is on a... Oh, I guess that is an
That's what
example
I'm
of
saying.
a
Like,
positive
yeah,
coin
the
ego
Awakening...
too.
Like, I'm trying to actually think, what was the last negative coin ego we've actually got? I actually don't know.
Shit.
Hold on.
Okay.
We're going to have to open the wiki.
Yeah.
I really
There's no category for it. Woof.
it's so
Why
it's
must
so
we do
unused that it doesn't have a fucking category.
Wait, if it's unused, why are we talking about it?
I don't know.
Now hold up.
Indican Trials are positive. Yeah, she's positive.
Indican Trials is positive. Fourth Match Flame is a
We have
negative.
to go further back. Cabinet is also positive. I don't think they've released a negative coin ego in like 7 seasons.
I feel like they've just accepted that this is the lay of the land. You know what? Wait, no. I see it now. I see the vision.
Okay.
Give specifically Fourth Match Flame Rodion and maybe the other mythical negative
5?
coin ego that are out there up tie 5.
Yes, that's probably what they're gonna get. Yeah, and fix them up.
Give them an up tie 5.
Give them the third spin 5 and fix them by giving them a special gimmick in their thing, and there you go.
Hot take. IDs don't need to be based on named characters to be interesting or impactful in a lore sense. They serve the purpose of expanding the world beyond the direct storyline. I feel like this is a... I feel like this is a funny reminder that you would just, like, put on a shirt or, like, tap the sign in a poster sometimes.
I mean, I agree with this. I do. I don't think everything needs to be a named character. I do like named characters, obviously, don't get me wrong. But there are a lot of IDs that don't have that aren't named or based off named characters that do have good lore and, like, good storytelling. Of course, there's a certain faction that I could bring up that has that if I wanted to, but, you know, I won't even bring them up.
Oh, yeah, I know. That one that does a lot of Rupture, the Devyat.
The Devyat Association. Do they have so much great lore?
I mean, they do.
They do, actually.
They genuinely
No, they do.
They're one of my favorite associations.
Yeah, no, they actually have pretty cool lore, and they work like fucking Amazon if they were gonna have a sword neck collar, pretty much.
Yeah. It's really just the associations you haven't been getting of much. Like the 7 Association,
yeah, we haven't had a lot.
Blue. Yeah, we haven't. I feel like we could do with more associations, or I guess even Walpurgis IDs could do that. I don't think that's a hot take.
Lore.
She-Faust's lore is just that she's trying to get more people to join the She Association.
How funny is it that her entire story is just a fucking advertisement to join the join the She Association. We have benefits, funny. She says into the fucking interviewer. That's funny as fuck.
No, you're right. You're right. That is pretty damn funny. I think that justifies the ID's existence, just even if whether or not you want to use it in battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this hot take is just saying, reminder, guys, some IDs aren't seasonal.
Yes. And some are, but also have, you know, no named characters still. I mean, like, Index Faust is another example. She's,
This is also true.
Yeah.
Quite.
I think it's just one of these things where, and I'm going to bring this up, people forget that this was always the thing. Like, this is how it's always been. Seasonal identities have been no named characters. There have been no named characters throughout the entirety of the entire game. Like, from Season 1 to now.
Yeah.
There hasn't been any different. The only difference is that the seasons have been getting longer, and there's been getting more stuff. So we're getting more stuff.
That's true. Hot take. The way Index Dawn's kit reveal was done should be the new way PM does it. It gives some info for planning with people trying to min-max while staying largely predictive with its ID's gimmick. I'm gonna be real. I feel like there was little to... Oh, no, I know why. I know why they did that, right? Because
it was in the story.
It would have spoiled... Yeah, it would have spoiled the entire boss's gimmick, which I still
technically
think
it's spoiled anyway. Yeah.
That's true. I mean, the ID came out at the same time, literally the same time as the boss was made available. I don't know. I'm mixed on this. Like, to be clear, I do have a bias because I do work with kit reviews. But if I remove that from my purview entirely, for what they're talking about, it gives info for planning with some people trying to min-max with saying largely predictive with its ID's gimmick.
I think you either have all of it or you have none of it. I think Dawn is the exception because of like the situation that she was in. She was like very special and it was like very unique, right? Because it was in the story. But I remember we talked about this last time. I said if I was Project Moon now, I would never do kit reveals. I would only have teasers, and then I would just wait until the ID comes out.
So I actually think I know why they do it this way. If I had to guess,
Mhm.
first off, on Index Dawn's kit review, or not, on Index Dawn's reveal itself, I think with how they were trying to balance it, I don't know why they wanted to release Index Dawn on that date, but the fact that they did, let's just assume that's necessary.
They kind of always do
The
that,
fact that
so
they did
I'm
it
not
this
surprised.
way the fact that they did it this way by having it be extremely glitched out, by having it make the character have a bit more intrigue,
Mhm.
and by having it mechanically be about ego for a character and kind of ego that we would have no reference for before, unlike characters like Sinclair Phillip or Leihang Rousseau. Like the way they did it, I think was superb.
Yeah, no,
It
it was
was
amazing.
so damn cool.
Absolutely
And I think
amazing.
it was. And I think a part of me is attached to that and thinking, oh, if they do that again, it's going to devalue that. And I'm going to
Mm.
see it as a worse spectacle. So I feel like a part of that is why I'm less in tune with it. But at the same time, I think I know why they reveal stuff without the numbers. And that is to give themselves some leeway for some final testing so that they don't shoot themselves in the foot.
So you know what? I think there
I.
is an ID that
Hmm,
could do it. That could
hmm.
do it like Index On. I think Xiaomi Ryoshu could.
Oh, I agree.
Time dilation,
Yeah.
the past present. I could see some fucking weird ass dilution shit going on where like the kid is like all all over the place. Like there's a past, like it shows only like part of the past and part of the future, and you're only getting like half of the thing. So you're kind of having to like look around like what the fuck is going on here. That could be a potential.
Okay, you know what? You kind of sold me on it because now it feels like what you reveal is a part of the art form. What you
Yeah,
reveal, even
it's
the act of
sangria.
hiding information.
There you
That's
go. Oh, we found
oh,
it.
what if the kid comes out and it's just got some letters deleted from it?
Oh my god, wait, that would be really funny. Okay.
Wait,
We're
okay, no,
predicting
you
this.
reeled me in on
Yeah,
this. You reeled
I'm
me in
reeling
on this. I
myself
think
in.
that's a cool
I'm
idea.
myself.
Okay, no, you've talked me into it. Make
Okay.
sure it's done in an interesting fucking manner.
Yeah,
And please, just as a favor, let me have a little puzzle I can solve so I can still figure
true.
things out. I don't even care about the videos anymore. I just want my fun puzzle.
I just like solving the jigsaw puzzle.
I just like my jigs. Yeah, no, exactly.
True.
That's
No,
what's
it's
fun
fun.
about
It
it.
is fun. Hot take. The high show are theoretically interesting and fun concept. The idea of IDs that are very similar yet distinct in their own way give them a novel, limitations bring innovation aspect to them. PM just screwed up because their usual way of handling ID releases doesn't work for the high show, which would have benefited from a more long-term plan. I actually do think with that last part, yeah, they just Project Moon did not have a long-term plan for the high show.
I vividly remember where this conversation went last time. I'm I'm
People liked
seeing
it.
I'm
People
seeing
liked
the
it when
warp train wreck.
we were at each other's throats. Well,
They
we weren't at
did,
each
I
other's throats.
know, and we've been very bad about giving them that during this one
Yeah,
so
no, it's been a
far.
bit calm.
I I had to take a second to track what they meant by a usual way of handling ID releases, but if they mean that they didn't really plan out how every Heisho
They did
ID would
not. Yeah,
work,
100%. They did not plan
then
that
yeah,
shit.
I agree with
They did
that.
not.
I think there is a possibility that it could have worked if it was handled differently. Um, there's a possibility that I could have drowned when I was 5. So
It's
like,
like, originally, I believed that Deathrite Haste was the reason why they changed. Zilu being OP was not the reason why they changed. I said originally, I think it was because they didn't like how they were doing the Deathrite mechanic. I've come
yeah,
around to that
there,
now, and I've now
mhm.
had the idea that it has nothing to do with Deathrite, and it actually has nothing to do with Zilu Faust. It's just they
Mhm.
didn't want it. They just wanted to do more high show. That was it. I think they just really fucking liked high show, and they just said, "Man, I know our original concept director where we were just gonna have a few Mao and a few C in the Lord. Let's just have all of them." And he was just like, "Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Let's just put them all in there, or put more in there." I think that's it.
You ever notice like how sometimes a creator has just decided, wait, I have this really cool idea for a video
Yeah.
that's not like anything else I've done? Like maybe they just start playing an entirely different game, or they get really into working out, or they get really
Yes.
into, I don't know, movie reviews, and they
Yeah.
just keep going along with it because it feels good, despite the fact that it is nothing like the style, substance, or anything similar that the audience has expected of them before. You're saying that's what Project Moon did with the Hey Show.
I think they just liked the high show and they just wanted to keep going. Like obviously they had an original idea, like a plan for it, and they weren't going to go more than that. But then they were like, you know what? I actually do like my high show. I think Wei originally was going to be his non high show for him. But because they started doing more high show, they were like, oh, let's put an interesting twist on this mirror world with Z-Tune and stuff, and you know, see how that plays out with this. Is there any way to confirm that? No. Is there even relevant to, you know, bring it up anymore? No, the season's already over, right? But I think if you like high show, good. If I personally enjoy them, I love them. I'm a big fan. If you don't, that's all right. We're in a different season now. Could they have been planned better? 100%. Could anything be planned better? I mean, yeah, that's just kind of how they work. As I've said, we've had this talk before where we believe that. Like, I said to you that I think they have a general idea of what they like, but they don't actually do IDs until like 2 or 3 weeks in advance. Like, I still believe that.
I think there's reason to believe it for some IDs in which they just don't plan them out 2 to 3 weeks in advance. But we also have some examples, like, we know that they have already planned out the bad end of Ryoshu months in advance.
100%.
We already know that.
Yeah. We already know the ideas of the Nurse Fathers.
Yeah, so we already know, like, that. We just don't know if the times where they plan out IDs in advance are the exceptions or the rule.
Exactly.
Now, that being said, I do think it is useful to go back and analyze what went wrong with the Hey Show and where it went wrong, but to think of what they were intending to do or why it was a mistake.
Look, I think, could High Show have been done planned better? Yes. Do I like what they did with the High Show now? I do. Is there a lot of misinformation on it? Yes. And there you go. On to the next one. Oh, by the way, I got you. I'm gonna bring this up now. Guys, no more high show talk until the next high show comes out, okay? Trust me, I love nothing more than to bring out the fucking whiteboard and go all over season 6 and high show and discuss it. It's like, you know, it's like wearing a giant kick. I've described it as wearing a giant kick me sign every time I want to talk about it. It's just exhausting.
You realize at the rate these are coming out, this means we're probably only going to skip it for 1 video, right?
Yeah. Look, I'll take 1 video, okay? That's good enough, all right? One video chat with no fucking high show talk. Or if you're going to talk about high show, you talk about how much you love them. I'm kidding.
Hot take! For focused encounters, the win rate button should be fully replaced with the random target button from Ruina. Ooh!
You know what? Fuck it. Yeah, sure. Go nuts. I like that. It's funny.
I think, you know what? This take isn't hot enough. You're not going far enough. Just add a fucking random target button, period. Just add a random clash button.
That would be really funny.
Just do it.
I mean, that's what damage rate is, bro. That's literally what damage rate is. That shit's random,
That's not.
Dude.
No, it's not. It doesn't guarantee that you clash.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It doesn't guarantee that you clash, but sometimes it also does make you clash. It's random.
No. But it'll put you on just one poor son of a gun more times than not if someone's staggered. Because it thinks it's for damage. No, I'm just saying, pick a random skill slot.
Just
yo ho ho, let's go get it.
Just fuck it. We ball. Can I play Limbus Company while only hitting the random button? Hot take. I feel like the secret bosses in MDE should be packs instead of having to basically roll for them. Because it sucks having to do 10 floors and not even get one of them. Well, I can tell you this. The hidden bosses are back as floor packs.
They are.
So that, this is an old comment, obviously. But I wanted to bring it up here because it has been solved, essentially. Yeah. And when the next Kanto comes around, it will most likely remove the current extreme bosses and put them as theme packs. And then it'll just cycle repeat. The hidden bosses are only going to ever be what the seasonal enemies are, I guess.
I was kind of interested in seeing players be able to guarantee the odds using Starlight. But this is a perfectly viable way to do it too.
Yeah, I think originally I was down for that idea, and then once they started doing this way, it's a lot better.
Mildish take. I hope PM generally makes more interesting corrosions for egos like Bygone Days-ish. Echoes not only support syncing, but allow fun, quirky playstyles like putting Echoes on Sunshower Cliff to help him lose sanity. I think there was a video called 5 Signs You're an Echoes Male or something that showcased that.
I don't know that.
That's awesome, man. Because nowadays, most corrosions are either completely unusable because of their resource/sanity cost, or more damage versions of the Awakenings. We've essentially had ABS this season, as well as
Sunset.
As well as Sunset, Wayfarer, Rodion, which, from what I've seen on both of those,
both kind of do the same thing. if you think about it.
Yeah, they're more just chaotic versions of the awakening that cost
Yeah.
more. I think there is a case to be made on this where imagine you're trying to balance an ego. If the awakening is really good and you think people are going to use it for that, you would want to make it so that the corrosion is a punishment, I feel.
Yeah.
And mhm, if the corrosion is really good, you would want to make the awakening not that good in order to compensate, because that's where I think you'd want to be most powerful. I'm not saying that Fellblood, Esong, I keep coming back to that one because it's an easy
I would say
example.
Indic
I'm
and
not saying it's
Rodion
the best
is
ego.
actually a good example of wanting to use the corrosion over the awakening.
That's a really good point, actually.
The downside
Yeah.
being it's a positive corrosion and it eats 50 fucking sanity for whatever reason. Her greed,
But
her fat ass just
but
really loves eating sanity.
but if you have the 45 SP, that
Yeah,
duck roast is gonna be
you're gonna get
tasty.
same turn and next turn. Well, I think is it same turn and next turn, but you're gonna get next turn minus or +5 wrath fragility, +5 wrath
Uh,
resistance. Sorry, which is fucking insane.
but I think if you want an ID who's like Bygone Days Ishmael, got a pretty balanced awakening and a pretty balanced corrosion, that's where you'd make it more interesting. So I think this is a fine take.
Yeah,
I
I
think it's
think I can
reasonable.
see it. I do think there is an issue with putting stuff like Echoes on top of Ego. Now, don't get me wrong, it's really cool that Echoes is on the sinking, but Echoes is also broken as fuck. How do I describe it? Ego is made for the current, like, that current era of time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, no, I agree. I
yeah.
think ego is made in order to be
Solve
a
a problem.
not necessarily a centerpiece, but like a lot of seasoning to put on
Yeah.
top of what has already been set at the table. So like imagine I just gave you a plate of Lowry seasoning salt and you just licked it up. That's an ego.
Even though it's been mentioned before in the Mini Walpurgis episode, I prefer if there were not color fixer IDs, since it feels like it's a cheap knockoff of the original characters. Carly was the red mist because it was her own strength of character, and having one of the sinners put on an identity of her feels off. uh,
Hmm.
hmm,
Hmm.
hmm, well,
I feel like the will
hmm.
of the city isn't gonna follow you on this one, my dude.
Yeah, I think that song has that wind has sailed, as they say.
Yeah, I think those waves have hit the shore.
Yeah, and they sound lonely.
I understand wanting to keep some sanctity with the color fixers.
Hmm.
Sure, fine, whatever. At the same time,
I want Carly. I
you
want
are
Carly. I want Carly.
oh, honestly, it's not even a matter of wanting Kali. It's a matter of saying, do you really think that human beings are so special that there can only be one version of someone given a certain title in all of that of the multiverse known as the mirror worlds?
True.
You are deluding
That's
yourself,
fair.
my
Yeah.
friend, and
I
I need you to accept that there is always that something can always be found that is similar to what you know.
That is true. I do think, however, we're probably not at the level. The reason we got Rien was honestly, I'm surprised we even got Rien in the first place. Um,
Mhm.
he is the exception because he's technically not actually a color ID, even though he is trying to be one. He's trying to LARP
Oh
as one,
yeah.
as they say. I'm not sure.
Let's do so. Maybe the Grass Maiden. We'll see what
Brass
she's like.
Maiden. Maybe we'll get a Walpurgis with the Vermilion Cross, and it's like him before he became a
Oh
Bloodbag.
yeah. Hot take. I think it would give us more freedom if all battles were focused encounters and the win rate button was replaced with a chain battle toggle that just switches the battle to a chain battle. What? Oh, okay. Context, I think they're mixing up the term chain battle with
Unfocused.
non-focused
Yeah,
encounter. So they're using it in
non-focused.
the same way. Okay, understood. Very,
But I get
very,
it
very
why
common
because
thing to do.
you drag a chain. So
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, which very unfortunate naming. That's more
Yeah.
Project Moon's
Yeah.
end
Continue.
than anything else. Yeah, continuing. So basically, we would have the option to chain the skills manually in chain battles, where some gimmicks like Big Bird, Gregor's Lamp just don't work otherwise. Dazzle just goes to a random enemy, and Gregor doesn't even target it. Same thing with Alan Gregor's Wound and other similar gimmicks. This also works the other way around, since I doubt anyone still has fun manually.
That's up there a
Oh,
little
okay.
bit.
There's more to this.
But it was like manually targeting enemies. I just didn't add that bit.
Hey, viewers, comment if you have fun manually.
Do you have fun manually? I have fun manually.
Or do you have fun automatically? Let's see. I'm just processing this.
Isn't that what win rate already is?
Kinda. Okay, so I think that what they're saying, because technically non-focused encounters have different mechanics, that
Yes, they do have separate
I
mechanics.
believe focused encounters overall give you more control over the
Yeah,
fight.
focus
So I
encounters have
think,
much more speed control and turn order and all that shit.
yeah, whereas non-focused encounters, you just have no means of targeting whatsoever, but it's not even really based on who the best clash is. You just go from the front to the back.
Yeah, it's just back to front. It's literally just back to front.
Technically, they're right, because it would give us more freedom if all battles were focused encounters. This
Yeah.
is true. And then you could press a button to take that freedom away from you
That's what I'm saying.
instead
Isn't
of
that just
win
win rate?
rating.
Isn't that just a win rate
No, no,
with
no,
extra
no, no.
steps?
No, here's the vision. It's win rate, but worse. So instead of there being, I'll use their term for it. I'll say chaining battles. We'll say chaining
Chaining,
battles.
yeah, it sounds much more.
Instead of there being chaining battles where win rate just helps you pick the best skill you have from your set of 2 on each center and doesn't let you pick the target, you could have the ability to pick the skill and the target and even the order they go in to some degree, and then just have a button that says, nah! And instead of having it try to clash for you, it just says, first in, first out. Whoever's closest to the self-maintained meat grinder. You want to win the clash? Who cares?
I do think this take is particularly better written out than read out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think when you're writing and thinking about it, you're like, oh, okay, I can see the vision in that. But then when you actually read it, you're like, it's just win rate with extra steps. But they did say, hold on, they did say the win rate button was replaced. So there's no win rate button. But again, it just sounds like a worse win rate.
Yeah, no, the win rate button's replaced with the worst rate button, like the first rate button.
Worst rate button.
First rate problem.
Just the lose rate. Skins lose.
Yo, give me the P button. Just let me
That's
do.
the
You
damage
know,
button,
anyone that
bro.
played Library of Ruina, hear me out.
I remember we talked about this, and we said that we should just remove. Win rate should just be removed from all focused encounters, but keep the damage rate button because the damage rate button's funny. The damage rate button deserves to stay.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I feel like we shouldn't expect all of the sinners to have huge changes in their personalities after their focus Kanto, because we're only in Inferno. Ishi seems like she's been in denial to me, like she wants to be Dante's helper. She serves as a foiled Otis in that respect. However, she doesn't seem as together as she wants to believe she is. And I'm sure this is going to be explored more when she meets Ahab again in the future. Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about this before. Yeah, I don't think every sinner needs to have a flip 180% of their personality.
The more I think about it, Ishmael is starting to go into the same position for me now that Sinclair used to be. And the reason I say that is because Sinclair had certain expectations of him. They could have handled those expectations better, sure, whatever, but they did handle them. And it was all after his Kanto.
Mm-hmm.
And then Roja, bless her heart, had no expectations for herself other than the one she manufactured.
Yeah.
Not manifested, manufactured. And her purpose is now to just keep getting in her own way and just fall over herself.
Mm-hmm.
That's at least, it's not as exciting, but it's what was ordered, and they're delivering. Ishmael is now defined by the fact that she is static, and unlike Roja, seems to be okay with that.
Yeah, she's kind of just enjoying herself.
Yeah, and she's enjoying herself, and that's fine for a certain amount of time.
I think you know what? I think if we get you know what, Frey? I'm gonna say this. If we get N Corp League of Nine reintroductory back in Kanto 10, she's gonna tweak the fuck out. They do specifically say we are in Inferno, and if there are 3 arcs of this, 3 arcs as we predicted there's going to be, in the grand scheme of things, being the same for 3 or 4 Kantos is very tiny in the long sense.
Yeah, I feel like a character being static is good. Okay, this is gonna bring me into another tangent. Is the thing.
Well,
so there's these things called character arcs, and hear me out on this one. Not all character arcs involve them going through a major change for the better or for the worse.
Mm-hmm.
There is such a thing as a static character arc, which is fine. Some characters prove that actually they knew where they were at all along. And to an extent, not perfectly so, but to an extent, I think Kanto 9 for Ryoshu is a static character arc.
Hmm.
And Ishmael is definitely static right now. The
Yeah.
thing is, a static character arc still needs that character to like have some kind of goal or to have some kind of opposition. And even if Ishmael is static and good for her, she's healthy, I'm happy for her, she doesn't have anything to really direct her right now other than just going along with it.
Yeah.
And again, think of it like this. What if Ishmael said that she was interested in, I don't know, trying to find a new position within the LCB or even in Limbus Company? She even said she was interested in trying to work for the LCE at one point during that intervalo.
That is true.
And
She could try and strive for a
it,
bigger
does,
position.
it doesn't even have to be like a personal change, like to your personality, but just like it could be some kind of, ooh, I'm being challenged on this and I want to push back against it. It doesn't seem like she has anything she is wanting to do right now, which is not really fitting for a protagonist character in a game like this. I think
Hmm.
that's the big thing that's getting
Yeah,
to
I
me.
think
But in 3 to 4 Kantos.
I think the story we're in, which is Ryoshu's, does not fit what Ishmael's character arc wants to lead for, and I do think it'll probably be improved when we go to 10 and 11, where it's more
I think
relevant
so.
for her.
Hot take. The apprentices shouldn't have died. Yeah, I get they were as trapped in the web as anyone else, but their deaths to me at least felt kind of forced. It's like their only role in the story was to show the nurse father's abuse, which was already shown with Ryoshu, and to die. They deserve better, IMO, especially Albina. She just wanted friends.
Well, this was before
Hmm.
Kira, so I can definitely say that.
Lucio's death hurt a lot, and
Lucio's
I
was
think
probably the most potential to be like not death, but then unfortunate PTSD circumstances said otherwise.
yeah, Lucio was like, there's a certain energy to Project Moon
Yeah.
where it feels like a character's completion comes with their demise,
Yeah.
not necessarily with them fulfilling a character arc. So I think Lucio staying alive, I don't know, you would have to be really careful with that. I feel like it's fine that it ended the way it did.
I think Lucio's
The
is
other
probably the
three,
best apprentice death, which is funny to say. Like, you know what I'm saying?
no, I
Like,
agree. No, I
yeah,
wholeheartedly agree.
yeah.
Same with Valentina's for that matter.
Oh yeah, she's
Of the Nurse Fathers.
deserved it. Yeah.
Oh, at
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
I don't know. How do you feel about the other apprentices? Say like Sora.
I like Sora and I like Ren. I like what they represent, even though out of the group, I know a lot of people have comeuppance about Sora. They call like a Mary Sue. I don't think that's quite fair to her character. She's very clearly supposed to be this character who has potential, and I know I'm saying that in the word, but is
Yeah,
manipulated
sure.
and controlled by beings like due to her emotions, right? Like she is very clearly, she has ego, she has Shin, she has Mang, she's got all of this stuff, yet she is just at the end of the day gets vanished without a trace, and no one even can remember her name except Dante, which is kind of depressing. Like,
yeah, I agree with that. I feel like this might be a stretch,
yeah,
but whenever I think of Sora, I think a lot of Aya from Kanto 1, where like the character was almost set up to feel like they were more important than they were going to be. Not that
yeah,
Aya was ever going to be incredibly important, but almost felt like the precedent for a character like this dying in such a
no one
manner
is
that
safe.
they were. Yeah, not that just no one is safe, but it's like, oh, Sora got super screwed by Muka.
Yeah, she got fucked up by the prescripts badly. Like,
I can see a case where I would have liked to see more of Ren.
I would have. Ren is my favorite because he's just.
Hmm.
He just. I don't know, man. He's
course.
just such a fucking Chad, bro. He just doesn't give a fuck about
You-
anything except ascending his like sword and becoming one with humanity, bro. Like,
You're just a sucker for sword boys.
I just like, not only am I a sucker for sword boys, but like I love the interaction where at in the Muga phase where Rian was like, you don't have to be here anymore. Like Shiomi's dead. Arya's dead. You can leave. And he's just like, how dare I leave an opportunity to test test the way of the pinky and become a star against the most ultimate form of swordplay. Even though no way he even had a chance of winning against Ryoshu, but he just had to like ego check it. Like he was just like,
That's true.
and then he vanished, and it was very sad.
Yeah, and look where it got him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. every person has a sob story, and
Yeah.
every person's is equally important.
Yes.
The only issue is that in the circumstances,
Some people are more
you
important
kind
than
of have
others.
to decide. You kind of have to decide if you want your people who have important concerns to live more than the other people have their important concerns.
Keep
But
a
still,
apprentice
like,
alive. I think that's, you know
yeah,
why? I think that's because that was the only apprentice they could control being alive. That's why.
probably.
There was no other way.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah,
yeah, because
literally.
without Bina,
Certain
you have to
Sinclair.
feed her your flesh.
Yeah. Well, no, not even.
With
Just a certain Sinclair was not going to let that happen. Roach Emperor wasn't going to let that happen. Ryoshu was going Muga. There's literally no other situation where you could save the apprentices that wasn't, like, the distortion crew, like, whipping the fucking dick out against fucking Martius, right? Like,
yeah, and you just really conveniently got the only one that could be bribed to help out with comic books and a television.
yeah, you know, just convenience and stuff like that. All right, we have a hot take, maybe. Kind of 9 came too early in the story for how strong our sinners were. Half the fights felt like we just needed to babysat the entire time. Ooh, I don't agree with that. I think the point is what we are able to stand up against those types of threats. It's just much like everything else we do in Limbus Company, we are always supported by Limbus Company.
Maybe I'm picking at something that's not even relevant to what the hot take is saying,
Yeah.
but like I'm personally of two minds on it. I do want to hear more of your thoughts on it though, if you want to elaborate on something.
I mean, it was very clear that like we were taking care of the apprentices while they were taking care, like, because the apprentices were, I mean, like Lucio in the first part was fucking keeping up with us perfectly fine. So it's clear that we're supposed to be on the level of an apprentice, which was supposed to be near the level of what Ryoshu was at that time. And remember, this is pre-contract nerf, right? So this is before she's nerfed by Limbus Company. So these apprentices have fucking hands. Like, these are, just because they're apprentices doesn't mean that they are not hot shit. Sora is a proxy, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Yeah, so these are like high fucking tier enemies. So I kind of liked the dichotomy of we are taking care of the apprentices, which means that we can handle somewhat the Ryoshu-ish power at level of that area. And then the big boys, which were fucking like steps of syndicate levels that we've not even dared even to interact with, except for like Lei Hang. And even that, we needed to use magic bullshit to deal with him. Barely. We have the support of Limbus Company. You know? I know some people didn't like the fight because they felt like it was too, I'm not sure, less fighty, more of like a cutscene fight, but I thought it was thematically appropriate.
I think that I overall agree with that. I think it was thematically appropriate because there's literally no way we should be able to handle this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it does make sense that we would need to go up a certain level of threat because that's what the story mandates. And
Yeah.
I'm not just saying like, oh, things need to keep getting harder and harder and harder. No. It's like if you just took out the 5 fingers and like a certain power level of them and replaced them with one level lower or even like 5 other kinds of parents, I don't think you'd have been able to tell the story nearly as well. It's more like the power level was a byproduct. The power level was coincidentally what it needed to be at for the story to hit. But at the same time, I can understand that a lot of the victories felt like they were from an ass pull. And I think people are justifiably frustrated about that if they are. I'm okay with it. I personally feel like Limbus is a lore first story. Hot take. Red coins on ID should be on the lower ranked skills than the higher ranked skills. While it's nice to be able to see skill 3 animation, often you never want to risk using a skill 1 when clashful defense skills normally outclass them. I'm not opposed to it on principle. I feel like it's ID specific, and
It
in
is.
most instances,
It is ID
you're
specific.
not seeing having only skill 1s as like a reward for the way you're playing. You're mostly seeing skill 1s
As filler.
when you only get skill 1s, not even just as filler, as like, hey, you're gonna have to figure out how to deal with this on this sinner. That's like the natural ebb and flow of the game. So I feel like wanting red coins on skilled 1s is almost trying to circumvent that, which I feel like is fine on an ID by ID basis, but
You know
saying
what
that it
I
should be
think?
there.
I can kind of agree with this. I do think you're right, though. It needs to be ID per ID. I think the best identity that could have a red coin on their skill 1 is actually N Corp Yisang.
Go on.
So N Corp Yisang obviously is one of the most memed on IDs next to everyone else because he has a, you know, very gimmicky character playstyle, right? The thing about it
Sure.
is that, like, you know, his skill 1 is actually one of his most important skills because it gives him positive poise count, it gives him all the torn memory, it gives him all of that, right? The problem is, to get all of those benefits, you actually need to hit with the coin. You can't just use the attack, right? So,
Of course.
I think in those situations where you really want to, like, you want a character to have a really empowered skill 1 or like a very useful skill 1 for like setting up, in his case, you can make it so that, like, him having an unbreakable coin would allow you to still build up to his, you know, fell bullet attack while not feeling as punished for losing the coin because, you know, you dared to do a single coin into like an enemy and you lost a 50-50, right? My hot take is that the story node difficulty should be balanced around base sinners and ego without the use of Durante and the revival mechanic. Okay, I disagree heavily on that one. That's absolute disagree.
Let's see.
I know this is a gacha game. Everyone knows it's a gacha game. Everyone has I know the people have the mentality of everything needs to be beaten with the base content because that's how the game works. It's not how the game works. That's an arbitrary rule that people have made up for these types of games to try and justify strength. Don't get me wrong. The base IDs can be useful and have been useful still. I would say that, you know, people could still use them in their respective Kanos. They get their respective buffs. But the idea, and in-game and in lore, is the base IDs suck. And they are supposed to be using identities. In fact, you get a free identity.
Canon.
Yeah, you get a free She Ishmael. So it's literally impossible to do this without any new identities.
They literally give you a free shish kebab and tell you that your main staff are not enough.
Yeah. And I do think limiting yourself to have, as a designer, a game designer, limiting yourself to have to do stuff with that in mind is more limiting than it is expanding. Of course, you also can't go too much in the other hand, where you need the best. You need Rien, House of Spiders, fucking Shiomi Ryoshu. You need fucking all of them to be able to beat the encounter. No, that's too far, obviously, right? Like,
and I want to be careful of saying this as of late because I still get so paranoid of people seeing this as like a gatekeepy phrase because I know there's some folks that don't like people that only play Limbus Company. But I do think that Project Moon has a stated and solid precedent for a model that says you can do a lot with our games, but if you want to do anything, you got to be ready to be challenged to hell and back for it. And I'm pretty sure every fight still makes use of a setup that the base sinners are able to get over. I think I've only seen one example of a fight from an Intervalo that seemed truly impossible. When I was fighting Cromer to get past her for the first time, I didn't know Luxcavation existed.
Oh my god.
So all of my IDs were level 15, and I kept losing to her thinking, damn, they really did put Project Moon difficulty in there. I didn't think it would happen this quickly. So I kept playing it thinking, okay, I've got to work around this mechanic. I got to make sure that I can deal with losing these clashes, that I can get through these and then get to the second phase. And then someone told me that Luxcavation existed, and I thought, oh, that sounds boring. I don't want to do that. So I continued on in spite of it, eventually won that way. And if Cromer could be beaten with level 15 IDs, in Season 1, which I will say, Season 1 IDs, it wasn't like I was full packing with N-Corp either. It was just a hodgepodge. I think as long as you're capable of winning with a hodgepodge, and you really, really sink your teeth in theory craft for your specific team, you're gonna be fine.
Yes.
Trying to make it so that when you say should be balanced, no, you don't say should be balanced. You're saying, I can read between the lines here, you're saying should be easy, or should be done without having to worry about using anything other than the base sinners and ego. Forget the gotcha mechanics, forget the monetization stuff. That's just boring gameplay.
Yeah, it's like, it's just very personal hot take. I'm no content creator, but I think it should be the norm to at least add a silhouette over the new bosses for at least 1.5 months. No, fuck you. Did I do a good job?
Oh, is that you taking the role? Is that you taking the role?
No, I agree, sorry. No, I agree. This sucks. I can't do it. only when it's about High Show, and Season 6 can I be aggro about it?
Oh,
it's
no.
like my kryptonite.
See, I think adding the norm of adding a silhouette over new bosses for that long would be nice. I really do wish it could be that way. And I think that there used to be a greater layer of like etiquette to this thing.
Before the
But
TikTok spoiler era and leak era.
unfortunately, a lot of that has not been maintained, but there is one bastion of hope I feel that is better than what I provide because unfortunately I've given up. I've given up. If you've seen videos by Taria, they
Oh,
are
yes.
some of the most creative ways for avoiding spoiling the community using their titles and thumbnails.
Streamers
I have
react to
endless respect for them.
Marius versus Grade 1 Fixers. It's definitely my favorite title that Daria has ever done. I'm sorry,
what?
man. Trust me, dude. I was around when Jujutsu Kaisen was being published weekly, bro. Like that shit was like hell. You had to get there before the leaks existed to not get spoiled on the internet. You had to, good luck doing anything like that. Like that era of just anything comes out. Dude, I'm trying hardest not get data mined on fucking Limbus, bro. Why are people coming and telling me they want to tell me data mine content? Fuck off. I don't give a shit.
Hot take, Sanguine Desire's passive deserves a nerf. It's just as bad for balance as Talisman Sinclair. Ooh. I think if Bleed ever gets super strong, whether it's with a ring ID, whether it's with more Blood Fiends, whether it's by fucking G-Con and the Rusted Chains, I think that there is a non-zero chance that Sanguine Desire, by the passive, I am assuming
No
that
bleed
they
count.
mean the no bleed,
Yeah,
no
no
bleed
bleed.
decay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then I think there is a world where it happens. I don't think it's guaranteed by any means.
Right? I want you to look me in the eye. Okay, I want you to look at me right quick, okay? I know you can't actually see me, but look me in the eye. Look me in the eye and tell me that Sir Director Kim Ji-hoon is going with confidence. There's a potential nerf a Walpurgis ego in the same strands of a 2-star Season 2 identity. Yeah, that ain't ever happening, bro. It would be suicidal for him to do that. Are you kidding me? That would be him walking into the open fire.
You know what? You actually make a really good point. I keep thinking of ways to challenge that, but with like, well, what if Bleed just gets this much more powerful? But they've already found ways to subvert like ways of letting stuff get this powerful, and Bleed really does need that level of stacking.
The restriction is that it is a Walpurgis only ego.
But for a Walp, no, you're right. And I hate that you're right, but you're right.
It would literally just be bringing out, what do you call it? It would just be bringing out drama for no reason.
Reverberation ensemble? Yeah.
For no reason. Just a bunch of shit fire on him for no fucking reason. Hot take. I believe wholeheartedly that the original LobCorp damage types, red, white, black, and pale, should return to Limbus in some form. I'm not saying just to directly toss them in and call it a day. I'm thinking more well tangled in what we could have now, or possibly make them unique variations of existing statuses, maybe. Think like the many types and variations of Tremor, or like the Maggot for Bleed. I'm not that creative or well-versed in game design, lol. I'm just really biased to LobCorp. I love that stupid game to death. This sounds like something that you might have a better argument in than I do, because you are a LobCorp fanatic. I do like LobCorp, but you are much more of a LobCorp fanatic than I am.
I do really like LobCorp. I will say it is in my opinion, it is one of the greatest games of all time. That being said, I love the energy they're giving. I love that you admit that you're biased, but even so, I think that it's a really fun idea, and I love ideas that come from a place of wanting something really fun. And it's not even about balance. It's not about saying this is too easy or this is too hard. It's just like you want a fun idea to exist in the world. That being said, they kind of already showed how they would incorporate the different damage types.
Yeah.
And that was in the LCE Cheqama event, where when you fought against the imagined LobCorp agents, they did have passive effects. Maybe not passive effects, maybe like skill-specific effects. It was one of the two that related to Fortitude, Prudence, Temperance, and Justice, which is an allegory for the different types of damages. You might be able to argue that they're different kinds, but it did like say, hey, you get more HP, hey, you heal SP, hey, you get clash power, or hey, you deal more damage. That might not be exactly it, but it was very similar to that. Which is admittedly, again, working with the stats. Hot take, Charge should be fundamentally reworked for the future or removed from being one of the main keyword statuses of Limbus. It can still be a side status. Most studies that fall under Charge aren't exactly fun and can be boiled down to just ramping up and shooting for a big skill with increased coin power, which most modern IDs already do regardless of their status. most of them don't really synergize either, other than just being tangibly related by faction or just envy res. I feel like Charge has already kind of been reworked ever since season 4 when they added
Potency.
potency, and now it's
Yeah.
like it's a more powerful over time.
Yeah.
Which I guess if you really want to get down to it, yeah, in some way that just means, oh, you now have a longer line in order to get to your funny move because now you need a certain level of charge potency to get the max power. I guess you could say it's the same issue at a different length. What if, okay, no, hear me out. What if, okay, so seasons 1 through 3, you had charge count and you choose your moves. Seasons 4 through 7, you have charge potency and that gives you passive buffs and it juices your moves. Now, seasons, let's say 8 through 10, the rest of the Inferno, charge now has count, potency mechanics on yourself, and now you can then, after a certain level of potency, put charge on the enemy and then turn that into potency, which then adds debuffs to them permanently. In other words, charged death rights. They just don't like it, and that's fine.
But the thing is, I'm confused because they say they want to remove it from being a main keyword, but a side status. What does that mean? Like, you want charge to be like, what's a side status?
I guess they're thinking more like something like
a bind
or something like
attack power,
bind.
But then what does that accomplish?
Yeah, or aggro in its own way. I guess they're saying they want to be more niche, is what they're getting at.
I mean, I feel like
they want it to be piss tremor. I'm sorry,
I guess
piss charge.
P-charge. Yeah, I guess P-charge.
Hot take. Limbus should lean on more sinners dying and being revived. Like when a sinner dies, they should come back after an amount of turns and limited to a few times before they stop respawning. Like how in first, Ricardo encountered Dante kept reviving sinners until where they didn't have time to revive them again before the yellow harpoon. I assume they mean Indigo Elder. I think they just had Vespa on the brain, and I kind of get it actually. I'm gonna forgive them for that.
I didn't even realize that when I took the fucking comment. I didn't even notice that fucking part there.
This is no longer a hot take. Just due to the fact that you got what you wanted. Yeah. You won.
I actually do comment that the Reflectrial gimmick is literally, by the way, the Library of Ruina floor mechanic. It is just Library of Ruina.
Oh, that's such a good way
It's literally just 3 floors available, like 3 librarian floors available, and you just pick a different floor after you lose that fight. Kind of fuck with the idea of sinners coming back after a certain amount of turn. That kind of sounds cool. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just don't know what fight that could be used for.
Okay, hear me out. I've seen some titles and thumbnails about, like, what if all 5 of the Nurse Fathers went up against you at the same time? And I'm not gonna lie, I like that.
Like a reverse sweeper? Where we have to just survive?
Actually, yeah, a lot like that. You know what? I found my hot take. I found my fucking hot take.
Oh my god.
Okay, tangent. I'm sorry, your hot take is good, but tangent. Not lobotomy. Limbus companies, abnormalities encounters kinda suck, and an easy way to fix them is to just randomly mix 2 to 3 abnormalities into a single encounter.
What?
Imagine in a mirror dungeon, or even in a story encounter, you're going up against a certain abnormality, and you kind of know the gimmick. Once you get the gimmick, it's relatively simple to deal with. That's fine, that's whatever. Imagine you randomly had to go up against 2 abnormalities at once, kind of like with Fairy Long Legs.
Oh, you mean you want more multiple, like, fuck yeah. Give me more duo abno fights. That sounds fun. That would be kind of neat.
This is just modding now. This is just, we need a fucking sandbox!
Where this Sam, hey, director, I'll pay. We'll pay.
I'll pay. I said $50. You know what? I'll pay the $300.
The most amount of money ever spent.
$300 dev kit.
$300 dev kit. Just let us. Don't know if this is a hot take, but I will say it anyway. I think they should rework the mobile version of Limbus Company to be more optimized for weaker phones. I can play Arknights with the highest resolution in graphics, even if my phone isn't a high-end smartphone, and the game runs smooth as butter. But after the Season 9 update, even if I play on the Yasade my pixels type of graphics configuration, Limbus Story Mode is borderline unplayable, with constant crashes after completing Kano 5, and MD takes twice as long to complete because of the same problem. Limbus Mobile is just there for EXP and Luxcavations, bro. Like, I don't know how else to put it.
I don't think I have a right to weigh in on this.
No, I can't even run Limbus on my phone, so...
yeah, that's a reasonable concern.
No, it is, yeah.
I can't even dunk on you for this.
There's no
it
dunking,
just
no.
kind of sucks.
I feel really bad because sometimes people will come into the chat and they'll be like, hey, I need help. I'm crashing on a certain boss or a certain encounter. And the first thing I ask is, are you playing on mobile? And the answer is usually yes. And I go, Doug, I don't know how to... I'm sorry, bro. Now, I do remember, and you remember, in the roadmap, they are actually addressing mobile issues.
They are.
They're going to get rid of all the extra download files of stuff, and they're going to get rid of floating text and like effects on the main screen. I think that one's going to be really major, like the floating. I don't know what you call it, but floating. I do agree that the mobile version is, but I'm going to be 100% honest with you. If they wanted to, they could probably only do the Limbus version, but the mobile there is obviously to cater to the mobile market, right? Like that's the only reason it exists.
It's one of those games that's like technically usable on Steam Deck, and that's how Limbus is on mobile.
Yeah.
I'd say story-wise, this is a main screen game. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm sorry, guys. If you
different, but yeah.
Try and play even on like a laptop, bro. Just play it on a laptop or some bullshit if you have it. Like phones, XP, excavations. I wouldn't go further than that.
Lukewarm take. Mong should stop being gatekept for IDs. We're past the 50% mark in the Kantos. No, we're not!
We're not even a third through the story.
Brother does not know what the future holds.
I'm sorry, dude. We are not even a third through the story. I'm surprised we even got Shin still, to be honest with you.
Yeah, like, honey, I don't think you've been following along the story. Dante specifically said, Dante specifically said in Yield My Flesh to Claim Their Bones that we weren't even like a 10% of the way done with that, or anywhere near done. Like, I get it. Not everyone's going to pay attention to every single word, and that's fine, but like, I'm sorry,
This was also before twinning threads. I can definitely tell that. Maybe, probably. Actually,
okay, but still, like, does that change anything?
Well, we got more explanation of Shin and Mang in twinning threads.
Oh, actually, you know what? If you talk about the Dante's notes, we did get more information.
I'm talking about the Dante notes. Like, obviously, they came after the twinning threads, but I'm gonna combine them, the Dante notes and the twinning threads, because the Dante notes are actually super fucking important when it comes to the Shin and Mang discussion.
I think that first off, I do think that it's interesting that Vespa saying that every additional ring nearly doubles the mental strain of Mang. That's cool. That being said, that'll be cool.
I think Dante using Shin and Mang would be really cool. Also, please just give Dante a gun. I don't know why we have not given Dante a gun yet. Just give Dante a fucking 9mm with some fucking ammo. Like,
Dante needs some combat capabilities at this point.
Yeah, like, come on, just a gun. Like, just anything. Just to... Someone approaches Dante and just fucking pulls out a fucking 9mm and just... Well, hot take, Distortion Detective is Project Moon's best work. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I think that is a hot take.
Not only is that a hot take, I really like Distortion. I mean, we both really like Distortion Detective.
Oh yeah.
I really like this. I really like Distortion Detective. So it's hard to say it's the best work because you can't play it. I wish it was a game, but
I'll give it to him for this.
Yeah.
Distortion Detective has the best made main cast. I think Distortion Detective is the best structure for a main cast that Project Moon has ever made. I think, like, you focused on small 3 to 4 character interactions at any given time. They have interactions that they can have with other folks. They're all very interesting. Some of them kind of fall into being similar archetypes like the muscle, but they're all still nuanced in their own ways and have clear divergences.
Also, adding on to that,
I'll give you that.
Adding on to that, I think Distortion Detective actually explores the world better than Library of Ruina did.
I'll put it to you this way: for anyone watching that's only played Limbus or the games, Distortion Detective, if you compared it to Limbus Company all the way through Kanto 6, I would say is the stronger story work.
Yeah.
After Kanto 7, I think there's just enough going on that it's really hard to compare anymore.
Yeah.
But up through Kanto 6, it's narrow, but I'd say it's better.
It's got a lot. Especially because Limbus is going in assuming you know nothing, but Distortion Detective is going in assuming you have, knowledge of it, because you kind of have to.
And you can say that's a pro or a con, depending on your take, but it's like... It's a really strong piece of literary work for how long it takes, man.
Yeah.
That is a hot take, though. That is a very hot take.
And I do think we can both say, read Distortion Detective, people, and also go play Library and Lobotomy if you haven't. And that's it.
That's it. Wow. I don't even want to complain about this. I think the
Yeah.
quality of the takes has gone up
I
significantly.
do agree.
This is good. Good.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I'm not going to say no to this, guys. Guys, good job. Now I remember what my purpose is. I'm just here to like be mindful, but also to learn how to roast again. That's what
Exactly.
I was missing,
Yeah,
a
hold on.
hobby.
Well, guys, please leave your hot takes in the description in the comments below. Let us know what you think. Let us know your own hot takes if you agree or disagree with us. And yeah, guys, that's gonna be it. Thank you, Frey, for joining me
Yeah.
again. It was very fun.
Thank you for the invite. It's always nice being able to do these with you, mate. And
Yeah.
now I've got another reason to play MDE. Hell yeah.
Hooray! All right, well, guys, again, leave your comments
Potentially.
below, and if you enjoyed, let us know, and we'll do this again at some point, probably. We'll figure it out, so don't you worry.
Y'all take
All
care.
right, bye-bye.